Hey, what's up, everyone? In this video, I'm going to be yapping about the Valorant patch 8.08, mainly talking about the VIPER nerfs. I'll talk about Cypher a little bit, but mainly it's going to be VIPER. I'm going to go through the nerf first of all, but then I'm also going to talk about what I think this means for the meta, how I think things will change, map to map, if we see any different comps, if we see any different play styles, things to look out for, basically. And yeah, well, I'll just kind of get straight into it. You know, this is a VIPER has been so OP for so long, so she's due for a nerf. But this is brutal. She's basically unplayable now, in my opinion. There might be some teams that try to make it work, especially on Icebox. I think she's maybe still viable, maybe Breeze, but like even then, I think there's gonna be you're gonna have to figure out ways to play without her because I just don't think her kit is that great anymore. So I'll just talk about the nerfs now. Toxic Screen and Poison Cloud, maximum duration reduced from 13.5 seconds to 12 seconds. So naturally, her wall, her orb are able to be up for less time. That's a nerf. Um, Minimum fuel required to redeploy smoke increase from 20 to 30%. So that means if you use the entire fuel, all of your fuel, you need to let it go up to 30% now to repop your wallet or your orb. Now it says redeploy smoke here, so I don't know if that's just for the orb or if it's for the wall as well. But I think it's probably both. Poison Cloud can now only be picked up during the purchase phase. Now this is a big one. This is a big one. Okay, really solid VIPER players figure out ways to get multiple use cases out of their orb. When they rotate, they pick it up. They use it again. They can throw it on spike to diffuse. You know what I mean? So this is something that really limits the skill ceiling of VIPER and the flexibility of the agent. Snake Venom, this is her Molly, reduced from 2 to 1. So only one Molly now. So you need to be really good at using your Molly. Price increase from 200 to 300. Duration increase from 5 seconds to 6.5. So the stall gets better. It becomes more expensive. But the stall isn't really what you wanted. It's more that you wanted multiple uses of your Molly. You want to be able to use your Molly more than one time. I would much rather have two 5.5 and a half second mollies than one 6.5 second molly. This will affect her ability to play post plant efficiently. It affects her ability to contribute to attack side execs, retakes, Molly retakes, the ability to stall multiple times, stall to get to give yourself time for your fuel to come back up. I mean, the nerf is massive. So in my opinion, VIPER is just not playable. I don't think we're gonna see very much VIPER. Like I said, there's maybe a world where we still see it on Breeze or Icebox. I think Breeze will probably be the more likely of the two, just because Icebox, I think you can get away with running an Omen or a double controller, Omen Clove, Omen Brim, Omen. I don't know, Omen Harbor. So yeah, I don't know. It's not looking good for VIPER. Okay. So let's go ahead and talk about how this affects the meta. All right. So I think, I mean, you can make a case that VIPER is basically playable on every single map, and is definitely a necessity on maps on Bind, on Breeze, on Icebox, on Lotus, on Split. She's an absolute necessity. You cannot play the map at a pro level without VIPER. Okay, in the previous patch. Now Ascent, we've seen VIPER dominate on Ascent as well. We've seen also a lot of dominance with the standard comp, but there are ways to work VIPER in there. There's also ways to work VIPER into Sunset. So you're gonna see big changes across all of these maps basically. So if we just go down the line, I'm going to go through each of the maps and share some initial thoughts on how I think things will change. Okay. And again, this is just my first reaction. I haven't really put too much thought into this. This is just what I think is going to happen. Ascent, I think we just naturally go back to kind of the standard comp era. I don't, you know, we're gonna see a lot of, you know, we'll be going back to this type of stuff. Omen, KO. So no real changes here. What am I missing? Sova. I don't really I don't really expect any changes here. Oh, oops. So Ascent is like one map that I don't really expect a ton of changes. I think the teams that were running Viper will likely go back to something like this. I could also see teams going for some type of, you know, getting Cypher in there. Teams are experimenting with the Breach KO now. Breach, you know, Breach Fade. So I could see something like that, but I think generally Ascent is pretty straightforward. There's go back to the standard comp, and that's pretty much it. Bind is going to be one of the bigger changes in my opinion. I think that double controller still makes a lot of sense on this map. The strength of Viper on this map, guys, was always the ability to have global stall. Viper plus the other controller being able to call for wall up, to get in position to stall these chokes, right? And then get a smoke down so that the Viper gas can recharge. But now you're probably not running Viper on bind anymore. What are teams going to do? Man, I don't know. Are we going to see more Brawly? Are we going to see more Brawly Brim? Maybe Brim Harbor? Brim Harbor, Sky Gecko, something like this. Like, you know, and then we're still going to see some Cypher here and there. Don't get me wrong. We'll still see that. We'll still see some KO potentially in the mix. You know, you could even put these guys here. You can see some double initiator, I think. I think there's a world for that as well, where you go kind of a breach Sky. We get back into that. And you play more quick pace, run it down. Now, with Viper being pulled out of the meta, guys, the stall comps, being able to stall on defense becomes a lot less viable. So what does that mean? Maybe in the meta, we're going to see a shift to some more brawly team comps that can kind of run it down. Those brawly team comps that can run it down are also very exec heavy, right? So these exec heavy comps, right? And when I say, I mean like they get control of an area and then they run their set execute, and then they just hit the site and they've got a ton of util. They've got lineups for this corner, that corner, blah blah blah, whatever, stuns here left and right. Those comps are also naturally really good at retake. So because you can think of a retake as basically a re-execution on the site. So do we find ourselves back in a post plant retake meta where we're naturally having to give sites more often, right? Because I'll argue, as of late with Viper, I feel like there's more anchoring involved. There's more anchoring potential on a map like Bind. So who knows? It can go any way, but I don't know what the exact comp will be, but I have a feeling that we might even see single controller, something like this, come into effect. You know, single controller with a sentinel to kind of try to anchor, go for one, and then the rest of the team is playing retakey. So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on Bind. No more stall wall, no more global stall, no ability to chain smoke stuff. I mean, you can if you go double controller, but if that's the case, you probably want an Astra because you want the global smokes. And you know, could you go Astra Brim? Yeah, you could. I don't know how viable it is, but with Astra, you're also going to see the potential to util dump the sites, you know, execute heavy stuff, and it also kind of helps. It makes sense with post plant too, being able to suck the bomb. Okay, so I think that's kind of what we're going to see on Bind. I think we're going to see either a double controller with Astra in the mix. I could also see Harbor being one of the agents that's played. So Harbor, Astra is a double controller. I still don't think Clove will. I mean, Clove could make sense too, guys. Clove. I mean, they're a brawly controller. If this is the run it down style that we want to rock with the Breach Gecko double initiator, with a raise and a brim, There's a world where you could go double controller clove and kind of take a little bit more risk and play it more like a play them more like a duelist. But yeah, I think with no global stall, bind looks completely different on attack side and on defense. You're gonna be running it down. You're gonna be playing more execute heavy. I mean, you kind of were already with the gecko, but you're also going to be forced to play a little bit more. You're going to need to play a little bit more scrappy on defense or play full retake. You're going to have to gamble 4-1 a lot, in my opinion. Holding down these chokes is going to be too tough without the Viper. Maybe we see a little bit more deadlock introduced as well. Okay, Breeze. Jeez, Breeze is the one where like I genuinely don't even know. I genuinely don't even know. Harbor? Seymour Harbor? Yeah, I think you probably just see more Harbor. But Harbor's single controller is not good. For the main reason that defensively you have no ability to help the other side. So, but I think we'll see probably something like the Gen G. I think it was Gen G. Maybe it wasn't Gen G. You know, something like this. Astra's another one that makes sense. The global ability to smoke. People are going to be playing this little, you know, take B, smoke yourself off, take A, smoke yourself off, and kind of spam the bomb type thing. Is there a world people still play Viper on this map? Sure, it's possible. I think the nerf is too strong. Is there potential for teams to go double controller, you know, with a brim? Kind of play post plant mollies. I don't know. I don't see it. I don't see it. This change is so crazy by Riot. This is such a big change. It's going to change the entire way that the game is played. Are we going to see more brawly double duelist potentially? We're going to see Yoru. You know, man, it's going to be so weird. It's going to be so weird. I genuinely, guys, I can't even lie to you. I don't know. Breeze and Icebox or Breeze. I have no idea what's going to happen. I really don't, because I feel like this is one of those maps that you're super dependent on having, you know, a long wall that will block something for you. So I think Harbor probably makes his way into the comps on Breeze. I think there's also potential for Omen. Harbor Omen, maybe. Harbor Astra. I think you're probably rocking with something like this. I think you probably still play Cypher, even with the slight nerfs. But you know, and the only thing that really happened with Cypher is this. Let me pull it up. Here we go. Tripwire. Reactivation time after trapping enemies increased from 1 to 2 seconds. So that means when you run through the trip, it takes 2 seconds for it to go back up. Tripwire slow reduced from 2 seconds to 1.25 seconds. You weren't really playing for Cypher for the slow anyways. You're playing it for the info. You're playing it for the forcing the other team to use utility to break your trips or be cautious when scaling onto the site. If Cypher's watching the enemies, they'll get an audio cue. This one's kind of annoying. No more hidden cams. People will know basically once they're spotted. Now I'm interested to see if this will, like on split, for example, if people run the Cypher cam here that spots feet, will they know right away, or will it act like some of the abilities are where like it needs to visually see like your eyeballs, your head, for it to scan you. I don't know if you guys knew that or not, but there are some abilities in the game where it needs to physically see your face for it to either scan you or prompt and let you know that you're spotted. So that'll be interesting, but I think we'll go back to the stuff over here. Breeze, those are my thoughts on Breeze, guys. I think again it's gonna be really hard to hold down chokes. I think you're gonna have to play more for retake. If that's the case, could we see changes in the comp completely, where it's more execute heavy, where it's more retake heavy, right? Re-execution onto the site for defense and playing a little bit more scrappy on one side, 4-1, gambling. Absolutely. Could we be fighting more for mid? Yeah, absolutely. This is going to change the entire way that the map's played. It's going to change the entire game. Icebox. I think you see Omen. I think Omen's good on this map. I think broken. Like I think being able to TP top here, break the turret in kitchen, TP out, being able to smoke the turret, right? Being able to smoke this in post plant. The one ways on A, the flash also and retake very strong or on the executes. I think Omen works his way in. I think Killjoy stays in the meta. I think Jet will probably stay in the meta. Although I kind of actually enjoy comps without Jet. Like if I was gonna run a team, I don't think we would run Jet on this map. So I think this is probably what you'll see, and you'll see maybe this. Maybe Harbor slots his way in as the second controller. I could also see another. Oh, what am I doing? Not Harbor. I think you might just see single controller. To be honest, now that I think about it, Gecko, Sova, something like this makes a lot of sense. I also think that something like this would be viable. You slot a Harbor in and then get rid of the Jet. So, or like this. I think this makes a lot of sense. You still have good retake potential with the Harbor. You still have good execute potential with the Harbor plus the Omen. You have good flashes, potentially with the KO and the Gecko. Sova's still good, I think, for breaking the Killjoy mollies before you go to plan on B. But I don't think Sova's necessary. I think you could easily swap these two out. And I think, guys, another thing to keep in mind is if I believe that the meta will change and it'll be less stall heavy, that means that Gecko might make a little bit more sense because Gecko, being able to pick up his flash multiple times, being able to use the wingman to get on bomb, the molly is a really good set piece for executes. I mean, all of these things kind of make sense in my head. So I think we could be seeing a lot more Gecko. I think we'd be seeing a lot more Harbor. But I definitely think Omen is one of the big changes that comes into this map. Right? But yeah, those are my thoughts on the comps on Icebox. I think Lotus, oh man. Lotus, I think you probably see more Breach, single controller. I think Omen stays in. I think we see more Breach, execute heavy Breach, bang. I think we still see Killjoy, no changes there. I think we still see Raze, and I think we still see either Gecko or Fade. Probably, yeah. This is probably what I think is gonna happen. I think again, Breach Gecko, double flash, Breach Fade, really good util synergy, really good comboing. Breach is amazing for executes. Breach is amazing for running it down. And really the main thing here, guys, is if the defense doesn't have Viper Killjoy over on C, that means that it makes it a lot easier for us to basically go wherever we want to on attack side. We don't have to worry about the Orb plus Molly. We don't have to worry about baiting out Viper Mollies. So I think we're going to see a lot more of this, which I think makes Lotus a lot, even more attack-sided, which is scary to think about. Now, on defense, I think you're probably going to have the same approach with kind of shutting down this A line early with the stun, with the flash, with the Gecko flash, with the nade, whatever. But then you're also going to, kind of you're going to be forced to be playing a little bit more retakey, again, with this comp, because you can have really good set retakes with the stun, with the blast, with the Omen blind, with the Gecko molly, with the eye, C's, nade, blah, 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 whatever, right? So I think that's kind of the change that we'll see here. I think on split, I think also Breach makes a lot of sense on split. We see more Breach Omen, Raze. I'm wondering if we see more Sage get back into the meta. I doubt it. I think we probably still see Cypher. I think we just see another initiator. Sky fade. Something like this. Just trying to look at the agent, see if there's anything that jumps out at me. Yeah, I think this is probably what we see. I think Breach works his way in perfectly. I think that's great. I really don't think that second controller will be played on this map anymore because I don't think that the whole reason for Viper is being able on attack side, being able to sell the lurk and multiple times in a round at A or B. Viper's util is not really like that important to defaulting like with her smokes. You know what I mean? Like she's not smoking, she's not throwing an orb in mid vent for your team. She's using the util, you know, either over at B or over at A. So I don't know. I think you probably still have some type of lurk potential with the Cypher. I think that makes sense. But I think you can also kind of just run it down with the Breach. So I think we see a little bit more brawly, you know, double initiator on this map. And it's going to get scrappy. It's going to be a big change. It's going to be a big change. Teams will have less. There'll be a lot of more trap plays with the Breach, Cypher Cam. It'll be less so about stalling people out and stuff like that. I think it'll be a lot about like early control with the Breach stun, resetting, and then waiting for the second stun and then executing, or just being able to kind of like flat out run it down wherever you want to go. Sunset, the last one. I don't think there's too much of a change here. It's not like Viper was played a ton on this map, so I think we'll probably see a little bit more of the same when it comes to comp on Sunset. Again, I think maybe because you see Breach on a lot of other maps, we'll see more Breach now. I think Gecko still makes a lot of sense. I'm going to go ahead and put, I think I'm going to go like this. I'm going to put KO in. I'm going to put Omen. I'm going to put Cypher. And I'm going to put Raze. And so I don't really see much of a change here. But I think you could see more Breach. If teams are, you know, comfortable running Breach on the other maps because, you know, then it might suit their playstyle more. They'll be better at doing so going forward. So they might just want to make the swap on all maps because Breach is another agent that's kind of retake heavy. But on this map, like I said, Viper's not played a ton. She is here and there. But yeah, I don't expect too many changes. Anyways, I think that's going to be it for the video, guys. I don't think the Cypher nerfs are too big. I think it doesn't really change much, in my opinion, outside of the cam. You weren't really using the trips for the slow anyways. Those get shot instantly. You're not really worried about, what was the other thing? The reactivation time of the trip is not something that you're worried about. The cam is annoying, but I don't think it changes much in terms of the macro and how teams are playing the map. Because I think his role stays the same. The Viper change, though, is massive. So if I, can recap the whole video, I think we're going to see massive changes in playstyle. I think there's going to be more of an aggressive double initiator feel to a lot of the maps. I'd have no idea what to expect on Breeze. Same with Icebox, but I think we'll probably see just Omen slot in, and then we'll see teams go double controller, or we'll see them go double initiator, and even potentially play without a duelist. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I think those are the big changes. Just wanted to talk about it now. Valorant's down. Figured I'd make a video about it. Let me know what your thoughts are. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on the changes as well. Maybe there's something that I'm overlooking. And yeah, let me know what you guys think about this video. And I will see you guys in the next one. Take care.